All right. So you mentioned several possibilities, but which of those did you want to deal with?
That's why I'm trying to figure out what is that underlying, that key specific event. That's what I'm trying to figure out, because it's.
Well, there's possibly an error right there. Okay. You're suggesting there's a key specific event. There's likely several. There's likely a series of them over time, all of which have contributed to this general topic. And the general topic, we were talking about lack, insecurity, jealousy, envy.
Yeah, envy and jealousy. It doesn't feel good. That's the thing. It doesn't feel good. The anxiety, the stress that's causing it too.
Okay. Well, let's just pick one of those topics, because the general idea of addressing any of those is still going to be the same process. So just pick one and let's just go with that and see what happens.
I would say insecurity.
Insecurity.
In relationships. I'm pretty confident in other things, but when it comes to relationships, I think I have a little bit of insecurity there.
Okay, so when you're speaking of relationships, are you speaking of relationships in general, romantic relationships? Can you be more specific?
Romantic relationships with men.
Okay, all right.
That's specific now. I need to stress men.
Yeah, I didn't quite hear that. You need what?
I said I need to I need to stress the word men, you know.
Oh, stress the word men. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Well, listen.
These days, you just don't know, right? I need to be clear.
Yeah. Okay.
Get straight and be straight about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. This is a preamble. As a preamble, men are nothing more than little bitty boys grown up.
Okay.
And by the way, so are girls, little bitty girls grown up. You know, that's that. But they still have lots of unresolved emotional issues, just like you do, just like I do, and everybody else you know. Okay. We all have unresolved emotional issues, and we come into a relationship, and this is somebody you didn't know when they were 2 years old being abused or whatever the case may be. Okay. Or had been rejected and whatever they've gone through. You don't know those things. Okay.
Right.
And they don't know that about you either.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Right.
And so the two of you get together, and maybe it has some beginning good stuff, but eventually you're going to start triggering each other. That's just what happens. You will say something, certain gesture, tone of voice, a habit you have, and vice versa. The two of you will trigger each other. Okay. Well, that's sort of a general kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but let me ask you about you specifically. Is it that you have some difficulty attracting them, or you attract them and then it falls apart, or what needs to be corrected? Put it that way.
Well, I attract them, but I run away.
Oh, okay. You attract them. So go ahead.
It's not that I reject them. It's like something always happens and I run away. It's like they try to ask me out, then there's something, I get blocked, I couldn't hear or whatever, then I run away. And then they try it again, and the same thing. And I notice a pattern.
Sure.
And then certain things trigger this insecurity, like, okay, if you see, and that's the thing, well, we're thinking, you see a picture of them talking to someone, oh my gosh, he's not interested in me now. He was interested, now he's not, what did I do? It's cascade, and then that's over analyzing. It's not even.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, all right, I could be wrong here, but just as a first blush at this, it would seem to me, and you need to correct me, Sarah, if I'm not on target. Because if you just go along with me, then we're going indoors and we're wasting our time. So correct me if I have some wrong perceptions here. But what comes to my mind, first of all, is that, okay, so you attract a gentleman, a possible romantic partner. Yay, we all like that. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. Somehow or other, he asks you out, or maybe you go out, you didn't say this, but things happen or whatever. And eventually you go, oh, no. And somehow or other you repel them. You didn't use that word, but am I right?
Well.
No, you said you run away is what you said.
Yeah, I don't repel them. I run away. It's like almost like I don't want them to know that I'm interested too.
Okay, well, that's okay. That's one possibility. I see another one, and correct me this, and that is somewhere along the line in your past, typically your childhood, there have been, like all of us, okay, some rejections, okay, and oftentimes they are, not always, but sometimes they are romantic rejections. You got dumped by a boyfriend and when you were third grade or something like that, okay, didn't feel good, or you've been rejected by, as you were growing up, by peers, teachers, parents, maybe siblings, and the whole idea, and please correct me if I'm wrong, okay, the whole idea of being rejected, because that does not feel good. Nobody likes the feeling, I got rejected, I got dumped, whatever. It just does not feel good. And depending upon how intense that is, way back when it first started, you will avoid it at any cost, including somehow or other. I mean, this fellow may get really interested in me, and then he may dump me, and I don't want that feeling. Now, I put a big guess out there. Does that work?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
And
go ahead.
Let me just also, I just kind of came to mind, it's kind of not rational, the fact that if someone's interested and then I put up in my mind, it's like, okay, if I reciprocate, he's going to reject me, and then I block it off and then I run away. But then it just doesn't make sense if the person's already interested and been trying for years, it doesn't make sense.
Well, of course it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make, let's say it differently. It doesn't make logical sense, right? At least that's the way I would put it. It doesn't make logical sense. However, all of us, I'm guilty too here. Okay, we don't always respond to what's logical. We respond to the emotional impact. That's what really guides the behavior. So what I'm hearing is, okay, here's somebody I'm interested in. Yay, they're showing more interest, but they might reject me, and so you subconsciously maybe replay, rejection in the past. I don't like that. I'm gonna run away because even though I might like this relationship, and even though it might go someplace, I so want to avoid the feeling of rejection that I'm gonna hit it off before it even has a chance to happen.
Yeah, it's like this flight or fight kind of response.
Sure. Okay. All right. Well, all right. So what we need to do then is to collapse whatever it was that happened in the past that gives you that illogical response. Now, true, even if we do this collapsing and you have a boyfriend and it goes further than it has in the past without you running away, that doesn't mean he's not going to somehow or other go someplace else and reject you. That's it. Right. That's part of how the whole process works. Okay. And you can do the same thing. You can say, well, I'm not interested in him. I mean, that's just part of how it works. But what we want to, I'm sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
I just want to add quickly, Gary, that's another thing, that there's that fear. he may leave. So I'd rather not invest my time because of that possibility.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. So there's the fear of rejection, and why waste my time if he may split anyway? Okay. All right. Well, the last one, why waste your time? That's just part of the process. You have to go through a few relationships here and there to learn what you can do or can't do and how they work and all that kind of stuff before you finally end up with one. I don't know very many people. There's some do, but very many people who just have one relationship and that just works forever. That's pretty rare, actually. Are you with me?
Yeah, and that's the thing that what scares me. I've already turned down so many relationships and proposals and stuff because of that fear.
Okay. Proposals like marriage proposals?
Yeah, I don't want to get to that part. There's something there. I can feel it. That's the thing. It's like I'll block it. Like I don't want to. Yeah, that avoidance.
Yeah. Okay. Well, got it. Yeah. So then the obvious question, Sarah, if we're going to start to look for specific events underlying all this, so we can collapse them so you don't replay all that stuff and you can move forward. Okay.
Yeah.
Is where in your past were you previously rejected, romantically or otherwise, and it really hurt?
Well, I think I'm not talking about, I rejected a lot of them because I just didn't want to get involved, but there was one specific incident in 2004. There was someone. I think that's probably a specific event where that feeling feels like that.
There was someone that you were interested in and then they rejected you, or you ran away?
I kind of here's this. They didn't reject me. Things were progressing, except there's someone I know personally who was also interested and asked if I was interested. And I kind of denied my feelings about it and told the person to go for it.
The second person?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know this person personally.
All right. But let me stop you there and say that that's not quite where I thought we were going to go. Let me restate my question for you. It's not a previous place where you ran away. I'm talking about someplace probably way back early, even in childhood, where you were rejected, romantically or otherwise, and you got this, oh, I don't want this feeling. I mean, it could have been your parent, an abusive comment by your parent, for example. It had nothing to do with romance. A feeling of rejection. That's the likelihood is that's what you're replaying currently, and that's what's causing you to run away because you're avoiding that feeling. Okay. So that's where we want to go. Can you identify some event like that?
I think there's so many of them that I don't even remember. It could be my parents. It could also be with my cousin where I think I was 5. The mom said, don't play with her. That's something I said, I think, or even in the 3rd grade, but that was 5. I think around 5 or 6. And where the mom said, don't play with her. I felt rejected,
I don't get that. Why do you feel rejected? Because your mother said, go play with her.
No. I went to stay over at my cousin's place, and I think my cousin and I had a little disagreement. So she told her mom. So her mom just said, don't play with her. But I overheard it, and that was painful.
Okay. All right. Well, see, that would be one specific event where you ended up getting rejected and it hurt. All right. Now, as you said earlier, there are probably lots of them. Maybe your parents, maybe, and most of us as kids, grow up and get rejected in school and by our parents. And even if we're not rejected, we somehow feel rejected sometimes anyway. Okay. And we don't want that. We don't like that. So, well, since there may be many of those, here, let me back up a second. You are familiar with our metaphor, the tabletop and table legs?
Oh, I need to go back to it.
Well, let me go over it for you now because it's important. Okay. Here's the general metaphor is this. This is a tabletop, okay? And a tabletop is held up by table legs, all right? Remove the table legs, tabletop falls, all right? The tabletop here is fear of rejection for our purposes, held up by table legs, but each of the table legs are specific events in your life where you were rejected. Now, here you are in current time, and you've had many of these, okay? And here you are in current time with a romantic relationship possible, but you don't want to feel the rejection of getting dumped someday because it doesn't work. So you're replaying all this stuff here subconsciously. Oh, I don't want it. You may not be consciously aware of it, but that's what's going on. Mm-hmm. All right. And so what we need to do is then take care of these table legs. Once they are gone and the sting of the rejection is gone, then you're back into normal time. Relationships don't always work out. Okay, so what next? You're not going to run away from every one of them because you resolve these things here. Okay, so we're going to deal with one of them. Now there's several. Okay, but we're going to deal with one. And if that fits for you, we'll deal with one. It's going to be the one where your cousin's mother said, "Don't play with her." Okay, that's one out of many. We'll see what we do with the one. So do this for me, Sarah. Just close your eyes for a minute, if you would, okay. and go back to this time when your cousin's mother said what she said, and really get into it and tell me currently as you remember it now, as your current intensity now as you remember it on a scale of 0 to 10.
It's a 9 still. And I've been working on it for a while, but it's still a 9.
Okay, open your eyes. When you call it a 9, are there any physical symptoms go with that? Some tightness in the body someplace or something?
Yeah, the impression came as I block out my hearing. I have some hearing issues that doctors have not understand why. I've had fluid in my ear for so long, did the surgery, did everything, so always blocked. And what came to me at that moment was it could be that I block out that pain of hearing what she said so it doesn't hurt me.
Sure.
And my back hurt, and then I can feel in the middle of my chest, this blockage.
So when you were imagining this event, you were getting some hearing issue, a back issue. What was the other one?
It just feels like this blockage in my chest. I'm not saying that. I just heard that my hearing could be related to not wanting to hear what the mom said.
Wouldn't surprise me at all. And my guess is it wouldn't only be just what your cousin's mom said. It would be what someone else said and several more table legs under a hearing issue, okay?
Yeah.
But it's possible that as we deal with this one, we're going to start dealing with both the hearing issue and the I want to run away from relationship issues,
right?
Rejection issue, okay? Possible. We're just exploring here, okay?
Right.
But what we want to do is work on this one and then see what see what happens.
Okay.
So let me do a little setup here first. And this is some of our more advanced stuff, and you're familiar with all this because you're one of our members, and
Right.
and so on. So we're going to get a little bit into reframing and this kind of thing. So because we want to put as much on the table for unseen therapists as we can, right? So let's go back in time here now. And it was your cousin's mother. What was the word she said? I want to write this down as well as you remember.
Don't play with her.
Don't play with her. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Now, I don't know your cousin. I don't know her mother. I'm just going to take those words and I'm going to get behind them a little bit, and you and I explore some, okay? Because what we want to do is look at the source of this, and we want to understand the source, okay? And that helps us get freedom from it. We're not going to excuse behaviors.
Right.
We're going to understand them. Were you raising your hand there a minute ago? Yeah. Okay.
I just also want to add, it came up to me, this impression that I wanted to stay longer. I was supposed to stay longer with them because school was out.
Yeah.
And I asked to go home.
You asked to go home.
Yeah. Because I was staying over their place because school was out. We'd stay over just to play and sleep over. It's like a slumber thing, you know.
Yeah.
And I was 6. And then after what happened, I asked Dad to take me home. I started crying. Then I went home. But deep down, I didn't want to go home. I wanted to be there.
Okay.
So I noticed a pattern in my life now where I want something, but there's that block.
Okay, let me say that back to you because I just want to make sure I understand it well. So you hear your mother's cousin say, well, don't play with her. And then if I hear it right, young you, age 6, uses, this isn't a term you use, I'm going to use it, finds an excuse. Well, I want to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It becomes an excuse to help avoid the rejection. Don't play with her. Do I have it right?
Yeah, now that you put it that way, then it makes sense to me. I didn't know at the time.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right.
Even though deep down my desire was to stay there.
All right, got it. But
I have another cousin, her brother. You know?
Yeah. But you manufactured an excuse to help soften the rejection. I think I said it right. Okay. All right. Well, aren't you clever?
How does it work out for me right now? Now that I'm older, now that you mention it. And this has been very helpful so far to really see that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. But I still want to do a little reframing, if you will, having to do with your cousin's mother. Now, I'm trying to put myself in her shoes, knowing very little about all of this. Okay. I'm just hearing sort of what you say. So that's why you always need to correct me if I'm not on point. Okay. But I'm the mother, and I'm now understanding that you and her daughter, your cousin, were having this argument and weren't getting along. Okay. Well, little kids do that. Okay. They are very good at it. They squabble and fight and they don't get along, and sometimes and so it happens. So I'm the mother now. And so your cousin goes to her, or she sees this thing or whatever, is she says, well, don't play with her. If you're having a problem with her, don't play with her. Okay. Sort of a logical adult thing who has no clue what those words mean to you. Now, that's how I'm sort of seeing it. Does that seem right?
Yeah, the mom was working or doing something, and it's like little kids going to tell the mom, like, she did that to me. So the mom's like, well, don't play with her. But to me, I took it.
Yeah. Okay.
You know.
Well, the point maybe of this reframing conversation is that it is your interpretation as a 6-year-old that causes the problem for you. What she was saying was probably what most adults would say. Well, don't play with her then. Okay. Not knowing how impactful that is on you. She probably, my guess is she had no clue.
Right.
If she did, she would have chosen other words or sat down with you or the two of you, or I'm just presuming she's just busy with her world and 2 kids are fighting and just don't play with her. Okay. I can see that anyway. Now, do I portray it well, do you think, or would it be something else?
No, I think that's correct because the mom was in the bedroom. So she did not see our interaction or anything.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
All right. So you hear, don't play with her. You take it on as, uh-oh, I'm rejected. I'm going to throw some other words out here. I don't count. Something's wrong with me. I'm not good enough. I did something wrong. I'm not lovable. I mean, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I had to, it was so painful, I can tell you. It really cuts through the heart.
Of course. But your cousin's mother had no clue about what was going on with you.
Right.
Okay. In fact, you
I didn't tell them.
Yeah, you made up an excuse to. Okay. All right, great. Well, 6-year-olds do that. Clever you.
I just cried, and the dad thinks asked if I want to go home. I just nodded my head, and that's it. Even though deep down, I wasn't speaking my truth.
Okay, now, can you see, Sarah? And I don't want to impose on you. So you've got to always correct me, okay? But can you see how something like that, unresolved,